I think Jaedong will be able to get enough Zerglings out here. Jaedong actually trying to snipe Marine there, but kind of a weird lax of micro there from Jaedong. I think he lost a Zergling in that attack that he probably shouldn't have. Basically, Fantasy at this point, I think he's just trying to make Jaedong throw down more Sunkens, trying to keep him scared and looking towards his natural expansion, because I don't think he's really going to try to break this. If he does, he might lose a lot of his troops. This is going to be very close. He is going to be able to take out this extractor, actually, so that will definitely benefit him, seeing as though Jaedong is going for a very, very heavy gas build, going for an early hive, I believe. Since it looks like Fantasy's trying to break now. He's trying to go through everything, but I'm really not sure if he's going to be able to do this. Jaedong coming in at the same time with all of his drones and all of his Zerglings, and Fantasy has some backup troops here. He's coming in with backup troops, but this is still going to be super close. Fantasy falling back. Oh, just medics left for Fantasy. So the medic's going to sadly walk back to the base.
Too bad, too bad. I think he was trying to go for a little bit more pressure than he should have. Saw that Jaedong was putting down even more Sunken Colonists. Thought, hey, maybe she'd go for this now before Jaedong managed to set up too big a defense. But I honestly felt it was a mistake. Jaedong now has a Mutalisk inside of Fantasy's base. I think it's going to be forced to run back. There are Marines there to defend him. Looking at Kingdom there, looking at Fantasy playing. Jaedong already going for Hive Tech while Fantasy actually putting down his natural expansion. Jaedong going very, very quick Hive, and Starport coming up from Fantasy, so he's transitioning into SK Terran from what I can tell. Scanning the main of Jaedong, spotting that Hive Evo Chamber coming up, and more Sunken Colonies than the natural. I think he was also putting one more building inside the main. I'm not quite sure whether that was an Evo Chamber, or whether Emo Chamber, or whether it was something else. Mutal is just flying around scouting for Jaedong, spotting Fantasy's bases. Second starport, so Fantasy's going to switch up into 3-base SK Terran, going to be pumping science vessels from 2 starports. Greater Spire on the opposite side for Jaedong, so he might be going exactly for what Nuke said he was going for. Going for Guardians, and we're going to see what actually tries to go for Ultras alongside. Almost loses Mutalisk though, but does spot the build. Missile turrets going up all over the place, so Jaedong's definitely going to attempt to prepare himself for this. Fantasy's not building anything at all from his factory, so he's going to go straight up SK Terran, just Medic Marines and Science Facilities. And honestly, when you think about the fact that Jaedong might be going for Guardians, that might actually be a safe build to go for. You can pretty much have a crap load of anti-air. Jaedong did lose his Overlord there between some buildings. So we're going to see Fantasy. The way I'm looking at this is actually might be a counter to what Jaedong's going for. Guardians are going to be very weak to huge Medic Marine numbers, especially when you think about the number of forces. No, whoa, never freaking mind the SK Terran. 2 starports building Wraiths for Fantasy. He's going heavy Wraith. Probably once he spotted what he was going for. Defiler Mount also coming up for Jaedong, so he might be going for Defiler support with Guardians. Very, very crazy overall. So we're going to see what happens here. Fantasy going to get an economic advantage while Jaedong's trying to get his double gas, so it's all going to come down to what happens there. Nidus can also coming up for Jaedong to help him support all of his forces on the ground and his base.
This could be a little bit greedy on Jaedong's part. He did take that double gas, and he is going to transition into Guardians and probably eventually Ultralist, even though he's switching to Defiler Tech right now. Oh, this could be really bad for Jaedong, actually, because he's not going to have much to fight off the Wraiths. In fact, he might not have anything here to fight off the Wraiths very soon, because if he morphs all of those Mutalisks to Guardians, this could just completely decimate Jaedong, because he probably won't even be able to get into Fantasy's base. Even though Fantasy looks like he's putting down a control tower, so he could be going for dropships or transitioning into the Science Vessel build or Cloak. So he has a lot of options at this point, and he is expanding again. He is keeping his macro up. And I think that's what Jaedong has been focusing on. Macro at this point. This could be bad for Jaedong. The Rays are coming in, and the Rays might be able to see these Guardians. Fantasy's going in at the same time. This is kind of a Lita build. Actually, the one Devour out here, but still just one Devour. This is going to really hurt Jaedong to lose all of these Guardians. He doesn't have much else to fight up against this. This is kind of a weird build from Jaedong to not have any Scourge, not have any anti-air here to fight off Rays. But Fantasy is pushing here. He might try to break this, which I don't think he's going to be able to do with the amount of Sunkens here, but still, this is absolutely insane play from him. We'll see if he can control his Rays as good as Lita, because Lita's shown this kind of build on this map and won with it many, many, many times. So maybe Fantasy has been studying Lita's games, trying to figure out how to make it work in the finals here. Sniping some drones, and still Jaedong doesn't have much else. I think he might be morphing some spore colonies by his bases here, but really he doesn't have much else to deal with Wraiths, especially cloaked Wraiths.
And we're going to see some Guardians fly out in the field a little bit too much in the open. He has to keep those away. Dropships ready for Fantasy. A couple dropships. Jaedong now trying to push a little bit of those raids back with his Scourge, but did lose a Guardian in the process. There were those 2 control towers, and I think after these dropships, he's going to go ahead and transition into SK Terran and get those science vessels up, because he did put down his science facility and his second Evo chamber, so he's going to be getting upgrades. Does have weapons 1 upgrades. Let's see, those dropships flying straight up in the middle, so he's just in the middle. Doesn't even care if those get spotted. Jaedong trying to do some harassment inside of Fantasy's base. Don't think it's quite possible that there is. Oh, Dark Swarm comes up. There is a Defiler in play, but there is going to be a drop coming up in the north hand. I think there was Wraiths all with dropships in position, and this could be horrible for Jaedong. Nothing there to defend at all. I'm not even sure if he has a Night Scale now. Okay, it does have a Night Scale, so there are going to be some forces coming in. There is a Defiler in play. Oh man, the Fireman's take down the Defiler. Defiler goes down. Jaedong's going to need another one. I'm not quite sure if he does. Is that Wraith to support. I think a Plague did go off. Yeah, Plague did go off on those Marines, while Jaedong's still trying to push Fantasy back from his natural expansion. Fantasy micros his Marines, beautifully takes down all those Zergers that try to come in for him. Jaedong even pulling some drones off the line to try to get, finally takes care of those forces there. And Fantasy might actually lose 1 dropship. Both dropships go down. Oh, beautiful micromanagement. Beautiful split of the Scourge there by Jaedong. Takes that out. Fantasy now finally transition into that SK Terran. Has a crap load of Medic Marines on the ground. Lost most of his Wraith, if not all of his Wraiths. Lost both of his dropships, just adding a crap load of racks. And he did put down his 4th base, the Laurel left. I'm not quite sure whether he just took the dual gas there or what. Ultralisk Cabinet ready for Jaedong. So this is just transitioning into a huge-ass micro battle. But looking at the economy, I think Fantasy is ahead at the moment. And now gonna... Oh, man... morphing some Mutalisks into some forces and actually lose them. While Fantasy trying to push up north, loses a science facility, science vessel, I'm sorry. Jaedong trying to engage with Zerglings, but it does get most of them killed off. So I still think that Fantasy is ahead, but Jaedong still definitely has a shot to get back into this game as long as he doesn't keep losing all his freaking Guardians.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that Fantasy is definitely ahead at this point because Jaedong really hasn't gotten much economic harassment. In fact, I don't think he's gotten hardly any economic harassment on Fantasy, even though he's trying to macro up himself. If you can't pick down the SCV line, you're going to have a big Terran ball pushing into your natural expansion very soon. And now Fantasy knows about the other bases over here, and if Fantasy keeps going for his dropship strategy, I think he's going to win because Jaedong just doesn't have enough to cope with that right now. He hasn't been committing to a lot of troops. And Fantasy's going to build a bunker here, just going to make sure that Jaedong can't mine from those minerals anymore. Jaedong coming out with some Zerglings. Sorry, he has a Defiler in here, so he's going to be able to Dark Swarm here and surround the Marines.